is Kaylee Kundle, and my favorite athlete is Patrick Mahomes.
Hi, my name is Olivia Fossey, and my favorite subject in school is math.
I'm Ava Fossey, and my favorite sports team is the Phoenix Suns.
My name is Ellie Henry, and my favorite sports team is the Oregon Ducks.
Hi, my name is Jordan Orozco, and my favorite food is steak.
My name is Dalen Flowers, and my favorite emoji is the smiling with sunglasses one.
Hi, my name is Kendall Gillum, and my favorite food is Caesar salad.
My name is Bria Belden, and my favorite food is hot dogs.
Hi, my name is Elsie Pottinger, and my favorite emoji is the heart emoji.
Hi, my name is Molly Brown, and my favorite emoji is a cactus.
My name is Lexi Honey, and my favorite athlete is Sis Bates.
My name is Lily Hamill, and my favorite athlete is Jocelyn Allo.
My name is Ava Van Lanschut, and my favorite athlete is Devontae Adams.
Well, for Arizona, looking to get this offense going, Bria Belden, Lexi Honey, Lily Hamill, and Ava Van Lanschut all have had multi-hit games. We'll see if they're able to string together those hits in one game as they face off against Texas. The first pitch from Van Zee bouncing in, but we featured Raylan Van Zee in the open, and Madison, a 1-0 record, but 20 strikeouts. How does she sit them down?
She has really good velocity out there in the circle, and then she has a complete arsenal of pitches that she's going to throw out there. You're going to see her work a fastball, work a curveball like we just saw called for a strike on the outside part of the plate. She'll come up in the zone with the rise ball, down in the zone with the drop ball, and she's also got a fantastic off speed that she's going to throw in there as well.
The 1-1 to Lexi Honey, who leads it off for Arizona. Honey, the third baseman, also one of the arms in the circle for Arizona. Great-grandfather played for the New York Yankees. And that one in there for a strike coming right down the pipe. One of the many players on this team going to Sonorian Trails Middle School in 7th grade. And Honey takes the pitch, and strikeout number 1 for Van Zee.
Already we can see that this curveball is really working for Raylan Van Zee out there in the circle. Got it called for a strike earlier in this count and just goes right back to it in this 2-strike count. Really tight spin on that pitch, so it's moving away from those right-handed batters. Already Raylan Van Zee off to a solid start.
She had a complete game victory yesterday, giving up 2 runs, only 1 earned, and 8 strikeouts against Virginia. Lily Hamill up to the plate for Arizona. You see the line for Van Zee, and Hamill looking to get the first hit of Arizona on this Sunday.
That right there is a great look at the off speed that you're going to see out of Raylan in the circle. It's not your typical flip changeup, so it's not going to drop down a significant amount of miles per hour, but just enough to where it's really difficult for hitters to pick it up.
And you like what you've seen thus far from the arms in the circle and just how deceptive it is coming off those fingertips of the pitchers?
One of the major keys to having an effective off speed is making it look exactly the same coming out of your hand as some of your higher velocity pitches. Sometimes pitchers might give away what they're throwing before they release it. And so far I've been really impressed with several pitchers that we've seen here in Greenville that hide those off-speed pitches really well.
Van Zee looks to the dugout along with Isabel Mathis behind the plate. They get the sign and the pitch on the way to Hamill. Gets a hold of that one down the first base line. It's fair and tagged by Peyton Richards for out number 2.
Good play, Peyton. And Lily Hamill hitting that ball off the end of the bat is because of the tight spin and good movement that Van Zee has on that curveball, moving away from those right-handed batters. Her defense knows to be ready for ground balls at any time because that's what she is working for out there, to get these batters to be a little bit out in front, get those ground balls to the infield, and get her team back into the dugout to score some runs.
It was Arizona's Ava Van Lanschut, who had a hot start to this tournament, went 2 for 3 against New York. And speaks Chinese. How impressive are these young ladies that they are multilingual? She's gotten multi-hits throughout the tournament.
I think the focus on their academics is what's impressive, too. There's several athletes that we've seen that speak many different languages, that aspire to be doctors or marine biologists. These young ladies have bright futures ahead of them.
And how sharp they are, because school started last week in Arizona, so missing out on some time in school. However, Ava Van Lanschut and the rest of these players for Cactus Foothills Little League able to catch up, do a little bit of e-learning, and certainly they will have to get up to speed when they get back home.
I was going to say, one of the great benefits of technology is still being able to turn in some of those homework assignments even though you're all the way across the country.
Count even to Van Lanschut on the outside part of the plate. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Fouled off by Van Lanschut. Student at Lone Mountain Elementary. And the 12-year-old awaiting the pitch. Smacked right to Peyton Richards, lined out to first, and a 1-2-3 inning. Good start for Raylan Van Zee. Her teammates bats up to bat. We'll see Van Zee coming up next. Clouds hanging over Stalling Stadium as we move to the bottom of the first. And let's introduce you to this Texas team.
Hi, my name is Abigail Sepulveda. My favorite softball team is Baylor.
Hi, my name is Haven Hanson. My favorite sports team is the Texas Rangers.
Hi, my name is Lexi Rocio, and my favorite subject is math.
Hi, my name is Jenny Patterson, and my favorite sports watch is softball.
Hi, my name is Addison Young. My favorite animal is a goat.
Hi, my name is Addison Williams. My favorite food is shrimp.
Hi, my name is Reese Tate, and my favorite color is pink.
Hi, my name is Raylan Van Zee. My favorite college team is OU.
Hi, my name is Isabel Mathis, and my favorite subject is math.
Hi, my name is Corbin Stecker-Stroud. My favorite sport to play is softball.
Hi, my name is Peyton Richards, and my favorite thing to do in my free time is drawing.
Hi, my name is Billy Robinson, and my favorite athlete is Logan Eggleston.
And that's this Texas team. Leading off is Rolex Rocio. That's Lexi Rocio, who started the ball game off yesterday with a solo home run shot. We showed you that in the open. And 1, 2, 3, and 4 for Texas. Ever so dangerous at the plate. But Lily Hamill says she is up to the challenge, getting her 3rd start of the week.
Lily Hamill's a pitcher in the circle that has a ton of talent. She throws with really good velocity. She's even touched 60 miles per hour. But what she does best is keeps the ball low in the zone. She's got a drop ball. Her go-to pitch when she needs a strike is a fastball. And she's also got that off-speed, that changeup that she's going to throw in there to try to keep these Texas batters off balance.
And you saw the hug between Hamill and Lexi Honey, the 3rd baseman. Very tight bond between these two. They've played together for a while now, and among the leaders for this Arizona team coming out of the West as the region runners-up. Texas representing the Southwest regions, also runners-up as well. Top 10 teams made it here, both the champions and the runners-up, and the top 8 will move on to the quarterfinals as Rocio looks at 2 straight strikes.
I already like early that we're seeing Lily Hamill find command of that zone, working that drop ball, knowing that Texas is going to be aggressive up at the plate, trying to use some of those more movement pitches to see if she can get them out.
Going up, chopping to get that one over to Honey. Honey throws it to first and in time for the first out of the inning. And guess what? That's the type of defense that Lily Hamill wants to see behind her.
It's a great play by Lexi Honey over at third base. We know that Lexi Rocio has so much speed coming from the right side, so Honey charges that one, fires it across the diamond to first to get her just in time for that first out.
And what an arm you see there from Lexi Honey to get her out. Here's Raylan Van Zee, first pitch swinging, the hop over to Olivia Fossey, and that left side of the infield busy already, 2 away.
And I think we're going to see them continue to be busy throughout this game because Lily Hamill does throw that drop ball. It's working its way down, dropping off the table as it's coming to those batters, especially in the right-handed part of the batter's box. So already we're seeing them kind of hit on top of it and do some ground balls, but that's exactly what Hamill's game plan was coming into this game.
And fortunate for Hamill early on, she was able to sit down the first 2 batters with Addison Young at the plate. Young standing at 5'4", and the Texas second baseman coming off a 2-for-3 performance yesterday with a double and an RBI, and lines it straight to Van Lanschut at first. So a couple of 1, 2, 3 innings, and we are through the opening frame, still tied at 0-0. You think the friends of Kendall Gillum, who's at the plate now for Arizona, might be watching on as well, maybe picking up some brunch at Harold's?
Absolutely.
A local establishment there.
Just so great seeing the community support. Not only do these young ladies have so much pride being able to represent their hometowns here at the Little League Softball World Series, but to see the support from the hometowns when there are people that couldn't make it all the way here to Greenville. No matter what time of day, they are there supporting these young athletes.
And I'll tell you, they had to travel from far and wide. You know, Arizona, what, more than 2,000 plus miles to Greenville, North Carolina. The 1-2 and fouled back by Gillum. And Greenville has certainly been a great host to these teams. The new home of the 2021 Little League Softball World Series. And going down swinging is Gillum. The news, though, just coming out today that New York is out. One of the players contracted COVID, and so they're in COVID protocol currently. So Arizona will advance to live and fight another day along with Texas, Virginia, and Missouri.
So unfortunate for that New York team. They were so much fun to watch. You could tell they were having fun down there on the field, and just getting an opportunity to watch Haley Arvidsson pitch. She was phenomenal in the circle for that team. Her sister Hannah playing shortstop. Just a great team all the way around, and you hope that everybody ends up being able to come out of that being healthy and strong.
And so as the East Region champions, New York will have their tournament cut short due to COVID. Arizona would like to take some momentum going into the quarterfinals as bracket play begins tomorrow. And Bria Belden, who we mentioned a couple of hits in a game already this tournament, now at the plate. Belden did so against Missouri, and swing and a miss here. Well, you talk about Haley Arvidsson, just how terrific she was. Raylan Van Zee also joining company because she is the only other pitcher to have thrown every inning for her team here this week.
And one of the things that's so impressive, not just because both of those pitchers have been able to throw every single inning, but just how professional these young ladies are out there in the circle. How it doesn't matter if their team's up by 10 runs, down by 10 runs. They have the same routine every single pitch.
And that one on the outside corner for a walk. But guess what? When you go back and you look at Van Zee in the circle, same face.
Not phased. Not phased at all. And I'd imagine that her defense behind her loves that. The consistency. They know what they're going to get out of Raylan Van Zee every single time that she sets foot on the rubber.
Daylin Flowers sees strike one from the 13-year-old Raylan Van Zee. Flowers swinging at that one, missing now down the count 0-2. It was Flowers who came into this tournament hitting exceptionally well during regional play. It was 3 for 6, including a triple, and in search of her first hit at the Little League Softball World Series.
Now, I'll be curious, Tiffany, to see this Arizona team as this game goes on, if we start to see them try to execute some more small ball, laying down some sacrifice bunts, maybe even some hit and runs here and there, just to try to get some runners in motion. One of the things that they have struggled with a little bit here in Greenville is getting that run production, that consistent quality at bats all the way through their lineup. One way to make those easy adjustments is just by playing a bit of small ball, making sure you're doing whatever you can to just advance those runners 60 feet.
The chopper over to Addison Young, tagging in the double play turn. And how about the defense backing up their pitcher, Raylan Van Zee?
This defense just continues to impress me. What do you do when your pitcher gives up a walk? You get out of the inning with a big double play. Addison Young coming up, applying the tag, firing over to first to get her team back into the dugout. We still got a tie ball game headed into the bottom of the second.
To drive it with the legs. You know,
and there's a lot of timing involved with the shot put and discus, as there is in hitting. I was very inspired watching the Olympics. I feel like I'm sort of working my way up there in my shot put and discus knowledge. But it's so much fun to watch, just a great sport, and not every day do you hear that these young ladies are involved in field events like that.
The grounder over to Kundal. Kundal not able to get it, so the error on the second baseman, and the first runner aboard for Texas.
This was a really tough play for Kaylee Kundal over at second base. It looked like it took a bit of a funny hop right at the end. You see that last one, it hops right up almost to the face mask of Kaylee Kundal. She tries to get her glove on it, is able to knock it down, but that is a leadoff runner on board for Texas.
Isabel Mathis, and just past the third baseman, the long throw from deep in shortstop, and it's Isabel Mathis who's able to leg it out.
We just continue to see Texas be aggressive in their at-bats. Isabel Mathis swinging early in this count, hitting a ground ball into the 5-6 hole. Lexi Honey comes over, tries to snag it, but because Olivia Fossey has to go so deep into that 5-6 hole, she's not able to get that throw across to first in time, and it seems like Texas is starting to get a little bit of a rally going here in the second.
Well, it was Lily Hamill who commanded and came out strong in the first inning, just needed 6 pitches to retire the first 3 batters. Since then, Richards reaching on an error and then giving up their first hit of the ball game to Mathis. Here's Addison Williams. And stopped by Kendall Gillum. Gillum, good job of keeping it in front of her. The base runners stay in place.
You know, I still think that Lily Hamill is doing an exceptional job out there in the circle. Her job is to try to work that drop ball and do some ground balls, and she's doing exactly that. These balls just seem to have eyes here in the bottom of the second.
Well, something she really worked hard on, she said, and both her coach Brett Kundle as well talked about during quarantine, was trying to increase that velocity, trying to sharpen that drop ball even more so it falls off the table.
And Coach said that she's even made some adjustments from that regional tournament here to Greenville.
Right back to Hamill, slow dribbler, and she makes the play at first base. Good fielding by Hamill, but Addison Williams, nice job to advance the runners.
Another really nice pitch. You can see this one tailing down, and because of that, Addison Williams gets right on top of the ball. Almost looks like a great position for a bunt there. But Lily Hamill popping out of the circle, able to get that first out of the inning.
Speaking of a good bunter, here's Reese Tate. Squeeze beyond Tate, who just celebrated a birthday 2 days ago, and the 7th grader. Can drive in the first run of the game. Tate showing bunt, goes around. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, and I like that call of trying to lay down a bunt in this situation. It's interesting when I'm looking at the defense, the infield defense for Arizona. They are playing very far back with a runner over on third base. Typically in a tie ball game, you really squeeze your infielders in. But Lily Hamill still just dealing out there in the circle. Working that drop ball, knowing that, hey, they're doing what I want them to do. They are hitting ground balls to my infield. I trust them enough. I know that they will be able to make these plays.
The pitch to Tate, swing and a miss. And striking out is Reese Tate. Lily Hamill, that's her first of the game.
And I don't think that first strikeout could have come at a better time for Lily Hamill. Again, it's the drop ball. Kendall Gillum was actually set up on the outside part of the plate. This one comes back inside, but it's that late break down in the zone, which allowed her to get that strikeout.
Brinley Robinson has her chance to get her first hit. The grounder over to Honey. Honey with the wild throw to first base, so 1 run will come in. The play at the plate and tagging and safe at home is Isabel Mathis. 2-0 Texas.
Lexi Honey got her feet there to that ground ball. Again, another ground ball off the bat of these Texas batters. Going right to the third baseman, Lexi Honey snags it, fires it over to first, and just sails it a bit too high across the diamond. An aggressive base running. You could see Coach Rocio over at third base sending Isabel Mathis all the way. That's a big-time insurance run.
Brett Kundle in the circle. Let's listen.
I need you moving around like I've told you. If I don't see you moving around before the pitch, you're on the bench. Okay, I'm not doing it anymore. I've already given you the instructions. Now, it's up to you if you can follow through on that, all right? Everybody relax. Heads up, think about the next play. Let's go. We've got this. Yes.
What am I supposed to do? Because I don't have the instinct to throw it fast enough in time for her to do. Do I just hold it next time?
Yep. Or give it a good whirl. I'm okay with that, right? I want to see you try it. Only way we get stronger, right, is by trying it.
You know, and I love the motivational talks that we've heard from all these coaches throughout this week, but Coach Kundle coming out, talking to his infield about how he wants them to be moving before that pitch is thrown. You want to get some momentum in your step before the batters put the ball in play. So that's exactly what he's talking about out there, keeping their feet moving, staying busy, and ready for any ground ball that comes their way.
Brett Kundle could sell water to a well. I mean, the way he talked to us just about this Little League organization, the way he talks to his players and keeps them motivated, positive, spirits high.
I mean, he had me ready to suit up and play for him after about 5 minutes of talking to him earlier this week. And just what he's been able to do in Arizona and grow this Little League and the community, to have all of that support, those watch parties happening at 6:30 a.m. A lot of that has to do with the hard work that he has put in to grow this league, to grow this sport for these young ladies.
And Kendall Gillum taking a shot there off that foul ball, and they're going to run out and check on her. It is not easy to be behind the plate, and let's take another look at it here.
And I wonder if the foul ball might have gotten her right there on the right arm. Taking another look at it here. Ooh, yep, right there in the shoulder.
So they're going to try to see if they can massage that out. You know, we saw that yesterday with Mathis for Texas. The Texas catcher also taking a shot there behind the plate. Let me tell you, you are some warriors if you can sit there behind the dish.
Absolutely. Those foul balls, there's just no time to react, to try to get your glove to block it before it hits you. Such a tough job that these catchers have. Not just, you know, getting hit by those foul balls, but managing the pitchers as well. Some tough plays we've seen at home plate. These young ladies are true competitors out there, not going to let anything stop them. Kendall Gillum says, you know what, give me a couple of warm-up throws and I'm ready to put this mask on and get back down there.
All they need is one strike or one out to get out of the inning. She toughs it out as Corbin Strecker-Stroud trailing in the count 0-2. And again, as we heard, the Arizona coach, or manager Brett Kundle, got to be ready, anticipate. Hamill strikes out Strecker-Stroud to get out of the inning. 2 runs, both unearned, but Texas on the board for first. It's 2-0 here as we move to the third.
Just seeing how much effort he put into this homecoming proposal is what we're going to call it. And Stephen Crane, one of my very best friends, and we still are very best friends to this day. He had prom written in Christmas lights because it was during Christmas time, and I was a big fan of Dr. Pepper at the time, and he had a bouquet of roses made out of Dr. Pepper cans for me. It was so impressive. It made me feel so special, and I'm sure that Piper feels just as special being able to watch that homecoming proposal.
The attention to detail, and you know, usually nowadays kids may do it over text or social media. He decided to draw out a sign, hold it up, hoping that he could get it on camera here at the World Series. And now, Piper, the pressure's on you, honey.
I need to know what happens. I feel like I need to see her reaction to watching this back in Arizona.
Arizona will advance to the quarterfinals tomorrow, so this story can continue to develop and we can find out. We can get that information. We've got resources.
Great softball, homecoming proposals. I love it. You know, just when you think that this World Series can't get any better, it does. And we still have so much more softball to go.
And Olivia Fossey swinging and missing there. She leads off the inning for Arizona. Several defensive changes in the outfield for Texas to keep your eye on. Whole new outfield, and ringing her up, catching her freezing and looking, going back to the dugout. Olivia Fossey striking out.
Raylan Van Zee still dealing out there in the circle, working this pitch outside to Olivia Fossey. That's that curveball. You can see that tight spin on it. So as a right-handed batter, it looks like it's going to tail into that other batter's box, but that one just hanging right on that outside corner for Van Zee's third strikeout.
That brings up Ellie Henry, the 8-hole hitter. Ellie Henry, who big-time jokester on this team, hopes to one day be a veterinarian. Several of these young ladies, when they answered their questionnaires, talked about their love for animals. Veterinarian was one of those dream jobs that was really popular. Actually, Ellie rides horses. Two balls and a strike to Ellie Henry. Looking that one all the way in.
You know, you mentioned these girls' love of animals, and I remembered there was somebody that has goats out here on the field, and it's Corbin Stecker-Stroud, who spent a lot of time with her goats during quarantine.
Well, back-to-back strikeouts for Raylan Van Zee, her teammate, both times catching them looking here to start the third.
This one, a rise ball well up in the zone. Ellie Henry didn't think that one was a strike, but it's called strike 3. And if you're Raylan Van Zee right now, you're getting those calls both outside, on the outside part of the zone and up in the zone. We've talked a lot about it throughout this week, that early in the game, it's really important for the hitters and the pitchers to try to establish that strike zone. What sort of zone is that home plate umpire calling? And so far in this game, Van Zee's doing a nice job of taking advantage of it.
Kaylee Kundle, who is the daughter of the manager, Brett Kundle, a mighty 4'10", the 11-year-old, is ready to swing away. Takes the pitch, and it's a strike.
And you can see right now the reactions from some of these Arizona batters, not liking some of those calls back there behind the plate, but that's one of those things that you just can't control as a batter. You got to do whatever you can to just zone it out, try to make adjustments on those pitches, be aggressive, and do whatever you can to put the ball in play.
But how do you combat that? That's the question. I think Jenny Dalton-Hill said it earlier, that Raylan Van Zee effectively, wow, you just don't know what's coming next. The pitch right back to Van Zee. And fields the grounder. 1, 2, 3 inning for Van Zee. Texas on the way. We'll see the top of the order when we return.
Some of the conversation to Arizona before they came out on defense this inning was specifically to Lily Hamill and trying to utilize that wide strike zone that she saw used against her teammates in the previous inning. Some pitches called well up in the zone, some of them called down at the knees. And we know that Lily Hamill can work it all the way throughout the zone already to Lexi Rocio. We're seeing her try to get that rise ball up. I'd be trying to do whatever I can to expand the zone on both sides of the ball.
20 of her 28 pitches that she's thrown have gone for strikes. But behind here to Rocio, the leadoff batter for Texas. And she is a big leader on this team. Her father, Edward, over at third base. And the walk to Rocio to lead it off here in the third. We mentioned the tight connection with her father, Edward Rocio. Hey, they made the trip to Oklahoma City for the Women's College World Series, a dynamic one after 2020 was knocked out and we didn't have one because of the pandemic, and they loved that experience at Hall of Fame Stadium.
I can only imagine what it's like to be 12, 13 years old and to walk into Hall of Fame Stadium. Of course, with all the new updates, I think they added about 5,000 seats for those young ladies to compete on. And she's a big fan of OU, so I'm sure she was really excited that they walked away with another national championship.
Nicole Mendez, who bookended her career as a national champion, a big fan of OU, and Rocio going down at first base, and coaches coming over to take a look at her, both Brian Van Zee and J.J. Williams. Let's get another look at what happened here. The throw from Gillum.
Ooh, sometimes you wonder when you're diving back into the base if maybe they jam up their fingers just a little bit. Oh, no, you know what? That ball hit her right there in the side. You're exactly right. That throw got her right in the side. Yep. Oof. Sometimes that can knock the wind out of you as you're diving back into the base. All smiles over there from Rolex.
Pops right back up. We have seen how Rolex is ticking on, singing a song. Dad Edward over there at third base, also a little leaguer in his day. And Vanzie, the slow roller over to Honey at third, and unable to be picked up out of the dirt by Van Landshoot. So runners at the corners, and Lexi daring Van Landshoot to throw, and then Vanzie just says, I'm going to take off to second base. So tried to bait her in, and it worked.
Really aggressive base running. You can see that Vanzie hits this one over to Lexi Honey, who gets her feet there, and again, it's just the throw a little bit farther down in the dirt. Van Landshoot not able to scoop that one. But I love the aggressiveness from Texas. It was Lexi Rosillo coming off of third base, trying to bait a throw across the diamond from the first baseman, Ava Van Landshoot. And as Ava Van Landshoot started running her way towards third, Raylan Vanzie decided to take second base and move another runner over into scoring position.
And if you're Texas, one of the hitters you want to see at the plate has delivered all along, and Addison Young has done it again. One run comes in, another one slides home, and the RBI single for Addison Young, continuing this hot tournament.
Addison Young has just been on fire for this Texas offense. Here's some really important insurance runs, driving this one out into center field. Coach Edward Rosillo did not hesitate at all. He was sending Raylan Vanzie all the way around third base. No hesitation at all, and I loved how immediately, as soon as he saw Raylan Vanzie pass her, he knew she was going to score. He immediately signaled over to Addison Young to move her way over into scoring position so that they could continue the scoring rally here in the bottom of the third inning.
Young standing at second base, her line from yesterday, 2 for 3 with that double and an RBI, and here she drives in 2 more runs. As you mentioned, all important insurance runs for Vanzie in the circle. Peyton Richards can add more. But we were talking about the different animals. You mentioned the goats. Addison Young, she's got show goats, okay? Dad and mother work in the farming business. Dad, Justin, well, mother is an RN, but Dad's got the show goats, helps raise them on the ranch and the farm, and I wonder what goats are like as you know,
I'm not sure. I feel like there's a trend of goat yoga where people do yoga with the goats and on their backs.
I'll pass on that.
Yeah, I think I've seen videos of that. I have not experienced it myself.
But it's fun just understanding what goes on in different parts of the country, different regions, and show goats, a big thing for Addison Young and her family in Robinson, Texas. One time.
Good job by Kendall Gillum back behind the plate, making sure that that one doesn't get back past her. We've seen Texas continue to be aggressive on the base paths, and Addison Young was ready to take off to third if that one went by her.
Ball 4 gets past Gillum, goes back to the backstop, and again, heads up base running by Texas, keeping themselves in scoring position.
That trail runner is just so important. You can tell that Texas practices this type of base running because Peyton Richards didn't hesitate at all when she was walked. She saw that that ball went behind Gillum, behind home plate, rounded first, and scooted on over into scoring position.
Isabel Mathis, who singled last inning. Still working with no outs here in the bottom of the third. And a 4-0 advantage for Texas. Wild pitch, and that will score Addison Young, so she trots home. It's 5-0.
Lily Hamill still trying to work that drop ball down in the zone. This one just getting away from her. Going past Kendall Gillum, who does whatever she can to try to keep that ball in front, just not able to move quick enough. And that allows another run to come across for Texas. Ooh, how about the slick hands by Coach Edward Rosillo down at third. Even got a smile at Alexi Honey at third base. We got to take another look at this one. I mean, look how smooth this is. Moving the feet over with the bare hand, even snagging it from Lexi Honey, who was ready for the backhand.
What was important, he looked it all the way in to his
soft hands, too. Soft hands. Let it travel. And the freeze at the end, the picture perfect freeze. He knew that the cameras were on him.
3 of his daughters have come up through Little League, including Lexi. Started playing t-ball with her younger brother back when she was 8 years old. Now she's in the World Series, something she's got a leg up on over her dad, who made it as far as regionals back in his day.
And you know, I got to imagine that if he didn't make that play, these girls would have given him a hard time for it. You know, hey, you're coaching us up, telling us to make these plays. You need to do it down on the third baseline as well.
Full count laying off of it, and Mathis trotting to first base. So still Lily Hamill, who started out really strong, looking for a first out. Rosillo, though, and this Texas team really happy with their showing so far. Remember, they started out this tournament with a loss to Missouri. They had jumped out to a 3-0 lead, surrendered 4 in that 4th inning, but since then bounced back with a shutout victory over New York, and then yesterday's 4-2 decision over Virginia.
Mathis taking off on that pitch over into scoring position. And, you know, the biggest difference that I'm seeing out of Lily Hamill in the circle is that those drop balls are just missing down in the dirt. In the first and the second inning, that pitch was coming in right about thigh high, even knee high. And so far in this inning, just missing way down in the zone.
Abigail Sepulveda, who was a defensive substitution in right field, now getting her first at-bat. Everyone gets the opportunity to play a part of the mandatory play rules. Everyone will get a chance to swing the bat. That one's in there for a strike, and so now Lily Hamill. We saw her come up with some crucial strikeouts in the second to stave off any more runs after Texas hung 2. We'll see if she can get Sepulveda. And this one hits her as it bounces over.
You can tell that Lily Hamill's starting to have a hard time getting a grip on that softball. It is starting to rain a little bit harder out there. We've talked that these pitchers have had to make adjustments because of the heat and the humidity, but now Lily Hamill's having to make an adjustment because of this rain. This one slips out of her hands, gets Abigail Sepulveda right there on the knee. She looks to be okay, but Coach Kundal's going to come out and have a conversation with Lily Hamill.
So stand up. Okay, Lex, you're going. Nope, you're pitching, yep. Yeah, grab the towel. All right, pitching change.
You always have to be ready when your number is called. So Lily Hamill through this ball game. You see her numbers and the number of pitches she's thrown today. And now we'll see Lexi Honey. We'll introduce you to Honey in the circle when we come back.
Hanson, bring in the power, bring in the fire. And she even had some great fist pumps, great moves when she got out there to second base.
Well, I tell you this, Brinley Robinson just unloaded on that shot as her team is rocking and rolling right now. Texas is in full control. And Robinson is just loving it again, enjoying herself. First base coach J.J. Williams having some fun there with him. And that was really the first ball to reach the outfield this inning. They've scored the other 6 runs without having pushing it out in the grass. Over to first base, and the out is recorded in a tough slide home for Patterson, but Patterson is there. Texas plating another.
A big smile on her face, and it did just rain, so I wonder if home plate is a little slick, and that's exactly what happened. As soon as her right foot hit home plate, it kind of slipped out from underneath her. She's smiling, she looks to be okay. You know she's happy that she got another run for her team, but that was almost a little scary moment.
Yep. Back to the top with Rocio. Rocio 0 for 1. Scored a run back in the third. Good pitch in from Lexi Honey to locate that strike. Enjoyable just to watch some of these great performances. Texas finding a way to score runs when needed after that opening loss. Rocio swings that one foul down the third base line.
Yeah, I think it's really important for Texas to continue to get their offense rolling. You mentioned their first loss to Missouri. They really seemed to be in control of that game really throughout the 4th inning, and then it was Ava Hanson for Missouri that came up with the big 3-run shot to tie up the ball game. But I think that was a great example of why it's so important to continue to score as the game goes on. When you get opportunities, when you get runners in scoring position, you need to do whatever you can to bring them around, and that's something that Texas has done really well in this game. Tiffany, you had mentioned how a lot of the ways that they've been able to score, the ball hasn't even left the infield, but they've been taking advantage of whatever Arizona has been giving them so far this game.
Full count to Rocio. And the walk extends the inning, so back-to-back walks given up to Rocio.
Go, Ray, make it hurt, Ray, let's go, hey!
And just a reminder to our viewers, if a team has a 15-run lead or more after the 3rd inning, then it will be considered run rule. Drops down to 10 after 4. So Texas being the home team, they want to keep on tacking on some more if they can. Raylan Van Zee reached on an error her last time up. Van Zee, a big fan of Odyssey Alexander, but her favorite college softball team, Oklahoma, like many of these young ladies. Wonder how mom feels about that. Jill is the Baylor Athletics Chief of Staff.
There were quite a few players on this team, though, that said they were big fans of the Baylor softball team and players that played for Baylor. When I look at Isabel Mathis, Lindsey Cargill was her favorite player. She played for Baylor. So there's a little Baylor love out there on this Texas squad.
Over to Fossey. Fossey, nice play, leaning to her left and gets Van Zee And the inning is over.
This Texas
ladies wore them into the stadium. We go back to Lexi Rosillo and Brindley Robinson, who talked about you got to have your fit tight. You know, you got to be ready. The uniform and all the superstitions that go along with it, but you need to top it off with something Texas.
Well, they said when they get to Greenville, they want to come out and they want to look good. And not just by their play on the field, but by those spectacular cowgirl hats that they decided to make. The glitter, the feathers, the patches. There's a softball patch on the back. So much creativity and swag. I'm gonna say swag with those cowgirl hats.
Well, Robinson Little League hailing from the Lone Star State. They have an 8-0 advantage over Arizona. And you think about Raylan Van Zee, the last time we saw her in the circle was about a half hour ago. So how do you keep warm that way?
Well, I would say maybe she kept a little warm because of her 2 at-bats that she had in the 3rd inning. So she was running around the bases at the beginning, but a lot of times you see pitchers come back from those long breaks like that and have a hard time getting back into that groove. But here she finds herself ahead in the count yet again, so she seems to be feeling all right out there.
Struck out Lexi Honey to start off the ball game. She's ahead in the count. Now it evens at 2-all. We talked about this Arizona team and how they have been playing together for some time for the girls. Ellie, Lexi, Ava, and Lily. All with a really cool bond. 13 girls, 1 heartbeat as the theme. And the leadoff walk to Honey. We were talking about those fancy dancy hats, and look at here, our very own Madison Shipman wearing them. What is this Cali girl doing with this?
Fun fact, I was born in Houston. So yes, there is a little Texas blood in here as well. But I was inspired. You know, they want to look good when they get onto the field. I want to look good when we get into the broadcast booth.
Just want to touch
I've got yep. I got Tiffany petting my hat over here. But I am feeling the swag as soon as I put this thing on. I just feel so confident. I love it.
Yeah, can you do a line dance too?
Well, we won't go that far because nobody wants to see that. So just visualize a good line dancer, and we're going to leave it at that.
Lily Hamill at the plate. And look, for as much fun as these young ladies have had so far during this tournament, we have enjoyed it right along with them.
We are just smiling the entire time watching these young ladies compete because of how much fun they're having out there on the field. There are great stories left and right, but most of all, you can just see their passion for the game and the coaches as well. Everybody just having a great time out there.
They have put in so much work to make it to this point, the sacrifice, but not only them, but their parents have had to make. You know, this is a tournament that started Wednesday, and if one of these teams are fortunate to make it to the championship game, that's 1 full week. So we talked about the sacrifice for school, but not to mention the travel, the food. It adds up.
I thought it was great. One of the questions on the questionnaires that was handed out to these young players was, what would they do if they won the lottery? And a lot of them wanted to give back to charity first, and there were several young ladies that answered that they wanted to give back to their parents for how much time and commitment that they have spent with them in their softball careers so far. So these young players are very much aware of the sacrifices that their parents have to make and are very appreciative of it.
Gratefulness from these young ladies. Ball high, 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes to Lily Hamill. Hamill having a good AB here, continuing to foul off pitches. Favorite video game? Just dance. That's what I was trying to get you to do.
You know,
Madison,
I think Lily
just
Hamill's
dance.
probably got some much better dance moves than I do. I can guarantee that she is a much better dancer than I am. Really great at bat by Hamill too, fouling off pitches left and right. Sometimes one of these long at-bats can be the spark that your offense needs. Lexi Honey able to get on base before her at this point in the game. You can't win the ball game with just one swing of the bat. You just want to pass that bat along to your teammate.
And that one hits Hamill, so Hamill will take first base after fouling off 5 pitches.
So a big smile on her face after she got hit in what looked like maybe the left elbow. Oh no, it's the wrist. It got her right there on that right wrist.
Just the way she dropped her hands, it kind of came inside of there. And she's checking on herself.
Looks like Coach Edward Rosia is going to come out to have a conversation with our home plate umpire. The question might be, did that hit the handle of the bat or did that hit her wrist? Contrary to popular belief, the hands are not part of the bat, so if it does hit her on the wrist, which indeed it did look like it hit her there, should be a hit batter. Maybe the other question too is if he's saying she leaned into that one. So as a batter, you do have a right to the box, but you cannot lean over to try to get hit by the pitch. It was interesting though, because Lily Hamill didn't take off immediately. Typically when you see batters get hit by a pitch, they run down to first, but a little bit of a hesitation, I think, is what led Coach Rocio to come out and have a conversation with our home plate umpire. Also important, hitting that wrist, and also, Nick, you know, the throwing hand. Yes, she is right-handed. You can see her kind of continuing to move that down there on first base. Ava Van Landschoot, who has come up in this tournament with a couple of hits and a timely one there. Bases loaded for Arizona as they threaten here in the 4th. The spark that Arizona needs, and it comes from Ava Van Landschoot, their power hitter, driving this one opposite field. I love the way she keeps her hands inside that ball, hitting it out to right field. And a nice job by Sepulveda out there in right field to get that one in a hurry so that no runs ended up scoring. So after going hitless through the first 3 innings, first single of the game for Arizona, and they find themselves in a great position. You mentioned can't get it all back with one swing. When you go back to those 5 games during regional play, it was Ava Van Landschoot who helped bring them here. Yeah, she was doing so well there that she was even intentionally walked several times because teams did not want to mess with her bat, and we saw exactly why on that swing. The pinch hitter at the plate, and Ava Fossey. Fossey, the sister of the shortstop Olivia Fossey. Big Office fans. She had a leadoff triple to help them rally in that last inning to win states to go on to regional play. So we'll see if the 12-year-old has something up her sleeve here. Gets that one by her, 56 miles per hour, swing and a miss. And we introduced you earlier to her older brother, Jack, as he looks on, hoping that his younger sister can help push across a run. Good swing there by Ava Fossey, trying to work to get her timing down. Raylyn Van Zee throws with some pretty good velocity. That one coming in 54 miles per hour. You know, typically we show the nervous parents in the stands, and now we've got an anxious brother up there watching as well. And Fossey goes down swinging. Nice job by Raylyn Van Zee to just settle in, attack the strike zone. This one a fastball in the outside corner. And just as Arizona started to get that momentum, Van Zee gets it right back with that strikeout.
5 on the game. Here's Bria Belden. Belden, who we mentioned, with a couple of hits this tournament, and the 12-year-old out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Wants to drive in her teammates. And Madison, you have to question again that 30-minute delay for Van Zee. Most pitches thrown in any inning here, 25 thus far.
And you know, Van Zee has been known to kind of throw the ball all over the zone. That's typically her MO out there in the circle. She likes to keep hitters on their toes, but specifically in this inning, having a much harder time nailing in on that strike zone consistently.
And here's the breakdown of pitches by each inning for Van Zee. You see, trying to locate that strike zone, and Arizona being smart, making her work, forcing her to make the good pitches. That one low in the zone, and walking home a run. Arizona on the board.
Such a crucial run for this Arizona team. We mentioned that Texas was starting to knock on that door of that run rule, so every single run that they are able to get in this inning is so important just to extend this game out as long as possible.
Rocio coming to the circle. Let's listen in.
Not a we, but to you.
Hey, we got 1 out, okay? 1 out. We still got a 7-run lead, okay? So let's calm down. Let's work for an out. Roll it in the middle. Corners are going home. Back to you. Hey, hard to you. We can roll it backwards, okay? Roll it behind us. Get the double play. Let's get out of here. Hey, you need a towel?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to work then, right?
Let's go, right?
Thank you.
Just keeping the infield aware of the situations, where the ball's gonna go if it's hit, and not to fret. They still have some cushion there. Get 1 out at a time.
And one of the questions that an infielder has in this situation when you do have that 7-run lead is, where does the coach want you to play? Do they want you up to try to cut down that run at home? Or do they want you playing back to try to roll a double play? And there you heard Coach Rocio telling his middle infielders that he wants them back to try to roll that double play. And that's why here, when you see the defensive alignment, you see those middles playing back towards second base and the corners in towards home.
Molly Brown, the pinch hitter, who was responsible for the only run for Arizona in this tournament coming into today's game. She's in a pinch hitting opportunity with 1 out and bases loaded. And so she's the heir apparent in the circle for this Cactus Foothills Little League team. The 1-2 to Brown. And swing and a miss, and another strikeout registered for Raylan Van Zee, 2 away.
That fastball on the outside part of the plate seems to be the pitch in this inning that she's been able to throw for strikes. Right there, a 2-strike count going over on the outside part of the plate. Molly Brown not able to get any barrel on it, and that's a big-time second out here in this inning. Raylan Van Zee going to do whatever she can to try to get out of this bases-loaded jam.
Olivia Fossey back up to the plate, struck out her last time up, and we also talked about her older brother, Jack. There he is. Asked Piper Mills to homecoming, and she said yes. Fossey, the grounder over to second, and that ends the inning. But Arizona breaks through on the scoreboard, and Jack's got to be feeling like a happy man right now as we move to the bottom of the fourth.
Well, Texas finds themselves with a 7-run lead, but let's take you back to the third inning. It was Addison Young that got that scoring party started with that base hit out to center, and then Texas kept it rolling, capitalizing on a couple of mistakes by this Arizona defense, scoring run after run, but it was Brinley Robinson with the big hit out to left field to really cap it off. This Texas team seems to be firing on all cylinders, even though they might stumble, they might slip, but they pick it back up with the run production.
And this is their best offensive outing during pool play. 8 runs on just 3 hits, again, capitalizing when they can. And Addison Young, who's already contributed to that run total today, she will lead it off here for Texas.
Addison Young has just been red hot this entire week. Texas is a team that's gotten production 1 through 9 in their order, but she has been consistent in every single game that they've played so far.
And what timing you have as the clouds unveil the sun. Talking about red hot. And this field is going to continue to heat up later today. Nevada and North Carolina playing in a very important game in the Mendoza pool, given the fact that you're trying to work on seeding.
Looks like Addison Young's going to give our home plate umpire a couple extra seconds to gather himself after that one. It bounced in the dirt and came up and got him in the leg. So good sportsmanship by Addison Young, making sure that he's all right before he steps back in there.
Well, that's one of the things you're always looking out for. You know, the Girls with Game Team Sportsmanship Award will be awarded. Inaugural award. Most deserving girl who has displayed sportsmanship. And we've seen, you know, all of these young ladies conduct themselves at a really high level, really respectful level for each other. And when they take that pledge and when they listen to that pledge before every game, the Little League pledge, that's part of it. That's part of the game.
And making sure you're not only having fun out there with your teammates, but making sure it's an enjoyable experience for everybody that's out there on the field.
Addison Young, who also plays volleyball and basketball, but a big fan of softball. And the namesake of her pool play, Jenny Finch. Honey looks for a wristband, gathers, and the pitch. And fouled off. Speaking of both Jenny Finch and Jessica Mendoza, 2 softball icons. Pool teams separated into those 2 softball greats. And throughout the broadcast, we've also been able to highlight the 2-time Olympians and them wishing these young ladies well.
Those are 2 players that constantly give back to the game, even though they're not currently still out there competing. Always supporting these young ladies.
Scooping that one up and flying it into left field, 1 down. And let's take a look at the bracket. This is how it will shake out come tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Another full slate of games for you on our ESPN networks, from U to 2
sorts of knuckleballs, pitches up in the zone, and the goal is to try to put the ball down on the ground, because if you pop it up and one of your teammates catches it, then they get to bat. So the goal is to bat for as long as possible, but those are my top 3 rain delay activities. Of course, eating coming in at number 1.
Well, we know that you like to eat. I like to eat along with you as well. Now, this was a bit of a bizarre weather delay. Remember, we saw a 6-minute little rain shower pass through. They got off the field, came back on, and then that really long delay, you know, it dumped some rain. The field, the grounds crew did an amazing job of protecting the field and getting it back ready for play again. But we didn't see many lightning strikes. But within 10 miles.
Right. But this grounds crew, they have been working so hard all week long, and they were working the entire time trying to get this field as dry as it possibly could be for these players, just knowing how important these games are, how much fun these young ladies are having out there on the field. But you're exactly right, Tiffany. I don't know if there's a time I can think back to where in one game you saw what might be the world's shortest rain delay ever, along with a very long rain delay. Now, the 3 hours is not quite the world's longest rain delay. Of course, during that time, I went to the search engines and saw what was the longest rain delay ever. And it came up with an MLB game, Rangers at Chicago versus the White Sox, August 12th, 1990, a 7-hour and 23-minute rain delay.
At that point, don't you just want to throw in the towel, give the ball back, and say, we'll start again the next day?
Hey, it depends on what's on the line, right? We've got a Little League Softball World Series championship on the line out here.
Well, Lexi Honey, who came in relief for Lily Hamill, pitched a inning and a third, gave up 1 hit, and certainly these players are starting to get loose and trying to get ready to get back into play. We'll catch you up of how we got to this point. It was Raylan Van Zee getting it going in the circle for Texas, looking strong early.
Yeah, she was commanding that curveball on the outside half of the plate. Great movement, getting ahead of these batters. And again, it's that professionalism in the circle that you saw out of her. But the offense for Texas exploded in the 3rd inning. And of course, it's Addison Young doing it yet again. And then the offense with the aggressive base running, capitalizing on some Arizona miscues. You can see them running all the way around, taking advantage of anything they can. How about Brinley Robinson coming through with the power, driving that thing all the way out to the wall, and that's what's helped lead her team to an 8-1 lead here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Already 1 out as Addison Young flied out. Before that delay, Peyton Richards now at the plate. Richards reached on an error back in the 2nd and then walked in the 3rd inning, which feels like a really, really long time ago. Between Young and Richards, they have driven home a number of the runs for Texas. And Lexi Honey trying to get out, one of the best hitters in this lineup for Robinson Little League.
The rain delays can be especially difficult for the pitchers out there in the circle. And this game started with Lily Hamill throwing in the circle for Arizona. Then they brought in Lexi Honey. So now she's got to try to get back into that groove that she was in 2.5 hours ago.
And you can see already just in terms of gripping the ball, she's looking to the dugout and saying she's having a tough time. She goes to reach down to that rosin bag. And add to that humidity.
Yeah.
A lot of moisture in the air. And a 3-0 count to Richards. Four straight balls and back-to-back walks for Peyton Richards in her last 2 at-bats.
And it looked like Lexi Honey was kind of looking down at that rosin bag. You wonder if maybe it got a bit wet during the pouring of the rain, trying to figure out other ways that she can get a grip on it. She's still trying to work that rosin bag.
Lexi Honey, a vocal leader for Arizona. Her team trailing by 7. And this one cracked down the left field line. That's Isabel Mathis, and Mathis connecting with the stand-up double. Peyton Richards thought about stopping, looks back, goes home. The play at the plate, and she's thrown out.
This is a heads-up defensive play by Arizona. Isabel Mathis driving this one all the way out into the grass in left field, taking advantage of this inside pitch A lot of power in her swing, driving it all the way out. And you could see Coach Edward Rocio right there, not hesitating at all, sending Peyton Richards. And then right there, she decides to look back for the ball after she had already passed Coach Rocio. She's coming around here and then right at the last minute hesitates. And because of that hesitation, a smart play by Lexi Honey coming out of the circle, grabbing that ball, firing it over to Kendall Gillum to get the second out of this inning.
And Rocio will make a change with a pinch hitter coming up in Jordan Orozco. Correction there. That's Addison Young. That's on deck. But that was something that we talked about, Madison, the fact that you want to put the pressure on the defense to be able to make that throw. They have already been very aggressive on the base paths, and so Texas, no surprise there that Coach Rocio was waving her home.
Well, and you've got to think that that grass is very wet out there. It is slick, so it's going to take a very accurate throw from the left fielder coming into the cutoff, and then another accurate throw to be able to get her out. So I totally agree with Coach Rocio's aggressiveness, sending her all the way around. But it was just that slight hesitation. I'm not sure if maybe she thought she heard Coach Rocio trying to call her back to third base. But as soon as she hesitated, it opened the door for Arizona to be able to get that out.
Addison Williams hits that one foul. She re-enters the ball game. The left fielder for Texas. The other goose in the tournament, her nickname, Addison Goose Williams, and we'll see a little bit later today, Juliana Goose Hutchins for Oklahoma.
Is the correct term a gaggle of geese?
Yes. You got it. Yes. Nailed it.
Gaggle of geese.
Oklahoma due up later today against Indiana. These two teams you're watching here already will advance to the quarterfinals. Unfortunate news earlier today with New York having to withdraw from the tournament, not able to field a team with a positive COVID test. Here's the pitch. That one waiting on it and tried to time that out, but Addison Williams not able to get that off-speed offering from Lexi Honey.
Lexi Honey pulling the string on this flip changeup. She gets ahead in the count, says, you know what, I'm going to mix speeds here. Look at that one floating in there. Arizona's picking up the bats. Work and hope that everybody is healthy and is able to recover. Such a fun little team to watch. Haley Arvidsson was fantastic in the circle for them. But all of these teams that are still currently out here fighting for those seeding positions, they have been working all week, and they continue to battle out here on this Sunday.
Pinch hitter in for Arizona and Elsie Pottinger. Foul ball from Pottinger. Well, the question we asked after that 6-minute delay, there was an extended one for Raylan Van Zee. Sat down about 30 minutes before she got back in the circle. So after kind of cruising through those first 3 innings, Arizona made her work a little bit more in the 4th.
You know, I was thinking the exact same thing because she ended up throwing 33 pitches in that 4th inning after that slight delay, as you mentioned, Tiffany. So I'm curious to see how she's able to come back and respond from that extended delay. A lot of times as a pitcher, you don't want to warm up too much during the delay because you don't want to wear your arm out, but at the same time, you want to continue to stay as loose as possible. That drop ball right there just falling out of her hand. The grip is something that we saw Lexi Honey struggle with back in the bottom of the 4th inning. So that's something that Raylan Van Zee is going to have to work on out there as well.
Did she go around? Mark Lucas says yes, and Pottinger is out.
Let's take another look at it here, see where that bat ended up. Ooh, that one's a close one. It looked like she might have held up on that one.
Well, they conferred. Mark Lucas conferred with first base umpire Mike Como, and he said yes, she did go around. So Van Zee with another strikeout. She has pitched every inning for Texas in this Little League Softball World Series. Bracket play begins tomorrow. Single elimination tournament after today.
Yeah, Van Zee, one of 2 pitchers to throw every single inning for their team. The other one being Haley Arvidsson, who we just mentioned was a pitcher for that New York team that unfortunately for them is no longer going to be competing here in Greenville. They were the East Region champions. Still the representative from the East with Robbinsville out of New Jersey. And I have to mention again, because it's such an incredible thing that she was able to accomplish, Haley Arvidsson pitching back-to-back perfect games in that East Regional. Not a lot of pitchers across the country can even say that they've thrown one perfect game, let alone back-to-back perfect games.
All the best to a New York team who really gave it their all and gave us something to talk about this week. Pinch hitter now 1-2 to Jordan Orozco. Lined right to Brinley Robinson, who reaches out her glove to get it, and 2 away.
Really nice play over there by Brinley Robinson. We saw her show off the power up at the plate earlier this game, but how about this snag at third base as well, reading that one straight off of the bat, no hesitation, goes out into foul territory to snag that one for out number 2.
Busy day for Robinson all throughout. We told you about those hats earlier, those cowgirl hats. Help it to design those in addition to her terrific play on the field today. Back to the top with Lexi Honey. The Grinch, we've seen that a couple of times around a player nicknamed the Grinch. Lexi Honey's favorite movie is The Grinch. Coming in, charging shallow center field, and Haven Hanson can't get it. That was Reese Tate, excuse me. And really made an impact because a number of these young ladies listed her as their fave softball player.
And I'd imagine that she is a top favorite amongst these young athletes, not just for her ability to make incredible plays at shortstop, because we've seen several of those throughout her career, but just the passion for the game that she shows every single time that she sets foot out on the field, I think is a difference maker.
Reese Tate ropes it to left field. That one going all the way to the fence, and Reese Tate leading off with a stand-up double.
This is a powerful swing by Reese Tate, getting all of this one. It's a perfect line drive down the left field line, no hesitation at all, rounding first base over into second. And a nice leadoff double for Reese.
Speaking of doubles, extra base hits, that's what Brinley Robinson did her last time up. She drove home a run. Here she is with a runner in scoring position. Looks at strike one. Robinson, who has an interesting story, born with a common birth defect, a club foot, which means, you know, the one foot was twisted in a specific shape or position. As Tate moves to third base, getting away from Gillum.
One of the first things that I noticed about Brinley Robinson's swing is how she has a bit of a split grip when she gets up to the plate. And what I mean by that is her hands have a bit of separation between them. And you're starting to see that a lot more commonly in the college game. And one of the reasons for that is to try to get that elbow clearance as it's coming through the zone. A little bit more whip action, trying to get more pop in that bat. That's something that we actually see quite commonly with the Missouri softball team, trying to engage their hips and their upper body at the same time. And one of the ways that those players get a better feel for it is by using that split grip. We already saw a great example of the power that Brinley Robinson has up at the plate on her last hit.
I was going to say, it doesn't seem like it sacrifices power at all, because in her last time up, she was able to crank one in the left field for a double.
Well, and some players might stay away from it because sometimes it'll force you to roll over. But what this shows me is that Brinley Robinson has great barrel control. She has great control of where her hands are through the zone.
And flies out to right field, but the sac fly and another RBI recorded for Brinley Robinson. And you talked about just the rain and its effects on the field, the slippage there. But shaking it off is Reese Tate. She's all right.
And smiles from Robinson in the dugout as well. Again, we were just talking about that barrel control, that split grip that she has. And she's still able to get that same type of pop opposite field, driving that ball deep enough out into right field to allow Reese Tate to score easily from third base.
Haven Hanson, who has had herself a nice tournament at the plate. She has made the most of her opportunities every time she's been up to bat. 3 for 4 coming into today's game. Nicknamed Benny. Benny for Benny and the Jets, the Elton John song. So, you know, if she gets a hit, we can shout it out. Fouled off, still 1-2.
You know, when I look at somebody like Haven Hanson and the stats that she's been able to put up throughout this week, what really impresses me is that the hits that she's gotten coming off of the bench, which shows you that she is locked into every single pitch, and she knows that when her coaches call upon her to go up there, she's got all that information from her teammates' previous at-bats with her, using that info and executing perfectly up there at the plate.
She's a fan of many things around the game and sport of softball. The concession stands are among them. The 2-2 to Haven Hanson.
Well, Tiffany, we already know that the number one thing on my mind during rain delays was food. I have a feeling that Haven Hanson and I would get along just wonderfully, because she says she lives at those concession stands.
Yeah. Do you go hot dog? Do you go pretzels, nachos?
One of each, and a little icy on the side.
And Hanson with the 1-out walk.
Again, just another solid at-bat by Haven Hanson. Didn't see a pitch that she liked, watched it go by to see if she can try to extend this inning. And remember that Texas is knocking on the door of that run rule territory. It is a 10-run lead after 4 innings. So if Texas were to get another 2 runs here, the ball game would be over.
You know, we've mentioned all week about the community involvement and how so many folks are cheering these young ladies on back home. Lexi Rocio loves that part of Little League and also the bond she gets to share with her father, Edward Rocio, who is the manager. And when we talked, we said, okay, well, hey, how did everyone receive you all winning or making it to the regional championship game? He said, look, we came home to police sirens, fire trucks spraying water. It was a grand celebration as we listen in to.
If it comes inside, or you just want to turn on it?
Everybody, bro.
Oh, everybody off. Dugouts.
Well, more weather was expected in the area later this afternoon, and that's a sign that a lightning strike is likely within 10 miles of here. So we've had a number of delays this Sunday on the final day of pool play. This is game one, couple more on the way between Texas and Arizona. This game started at 10 Eastern as we are well past 5 hours. But good news is we're in the 5th inning, a pitching change. We'll see in the circle a new arm for Arizona with Molly Brown, the third pitcher we've seen today for Arizona.
And you know, it's interesting, Tiffany, because we were talking during this most recent delay about how tough it is for these pitchers to get going and then have that rest and then try to get going and then have another rest. So here I like this idea of coming in with a third pitcher, Molly Brown. We have not seen her in the circle yet today, so her arm is very fresh, ready to go. She's coming in with a 2-0 count against one of Texas's best hitters in Lexi Rocio.
Runner at first base for Rocio. And the run rule in effect here, so if Texas is able to expand this lead out to 10 runs, that would complete this ball game. They are the home team. 3-0 count. Molly Brown gets it in there for a strike. Brown, the 11-year-old out of Cave Creek, Arizona. We mentioned a long time ago that she is the pitcher of the future, and now we get to see some of her stuff here today. Rocio pulling that one foul. Well, the one thing that is unknown, the weather. It's a variable that you can't control, and more than 3.5 hours in delays, and we are playing once more. The walk after the break to Rocio.
You know, I just can't help but think back to my 12-year-old softball playing days and how many times I heard coaches tell me, control the controllables. And what that means is there's a lot of things in the aspect of the game of softball that you cannot control as a player. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control what calls some of the umpires makes, but you can control your attitude and your effort that you bring out to the field every single day. And even though we've seen delays, these young ladies are still giving it their all out there.
Van Zee flying to right field, and out number 2 collected here in the bottom of the 5th.
It's a big out, too, for Molly Brown coming in. Her job is to attack the strike zone, and we've seen her do exactly that to the last 2 batters here. Working a couple of foul balls against Rocio. This one, Van Zee trying to be aggressive early in the count, but she hits it to the right side, so that allows the runner to advance 60 feet over to third base.
First pitch swinging for Addison Young. Addison Young drops that one in there. And a 10-1 advantage for Texas.
Addison Young just red hot in this lineup. Doesn't matter what pitcher she's facing, what pitch she sees coming in there, she's still been able to be consistent up at the plate and continue to drive in runs for Texas.
one more run in for Texas, and that's ball game. Peyton Richards walked her last 2 times up. This one gets past Gillum, and the play at the plate, and that's it.
Again, we're seeing that aggressive base running from Texas. Rocio immediately noticing that ball going past Gillum behind the plate, coming in to score. A little bit of dance moves to finish it off there too. Aggressive coming off the base, no hesitation as soon as she sees it go past Gillum behind the plate. A nice tag applied by Molly Brown in the circle, but despite several rain delays, Texas able to come out on top.
And a mean game of tic-tac-toe between these two teams during those delays. Texas winning 11-1, so they are even with Missouri at 3-1. Virginia will get the win as New York had to withdraw from the tournament because a player tested positive for COVID. That's just the Jenny Finchpool's side. Jessica Mendoza's side, guess what? There are more games on the way, an all-important one for Nevada and North Carolina. Seeding on the line as a run rule victory for Robinson Little League out of Texas.